Joining us now, we have a big crowd, very distinguished. Fox Business correspondent Lauren Simonetti.
Hey, Larry.
Rich Lowry, editor-in-chief of the National Review. And if that weren't enough, Charles Payne, host of Making Money, right here on fabulous Fox Business. Thanks to all of us. Charles, I'll just say, I mean, we looked at the gold, dollar, all this all week long. And China has jumped about half of their holdings of U.S. Treasuries in the last, 15 years or so. And they're buying gold like crazy. And I think, I can't prove this one, but I think they're encouraging their little BRIC friends who don't like us at all and are trying to stir trouble to do likewise. Right. It's not so much, all these currencies are falling against gold. Gold is rising, but that's what I think. Buying gold is a way of rebelling against the dollar and the U.S. That's my take on this story. I don't see the inflation stuff. I don't see the booming yields and commodity prices. What are you thinking about this?
I think though that China only recently became an aggressive buyer of gold. Now they started selling off treasuries a long time ago. To your point. Now the good news is that other buyers stepped up, right? And so the notion that we have for a long time. Remember, for years ago, well, we can't ever push back. You said the World Trade Organization didn't push back. America couldn't push back, apparently, because they had too much of our treasuries. That was just one of the excuses. So they sold a lot of treasuries over the last several years, certainly over the last 5, 6, 7 years. But their gold purchase really became aggressive last year. Yep. But it was other central banks, though. There's no doubt about it. Many people point to the Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and when we took them off the financial system instantaneously, that what if that ever happened to us? For whatever reason, other nations are wondering, hey, if they can take us off the SWIFT system just with a flip of a switch. They lost a lot of confidence. I think the Biden administration might have moved too quickly there. Also, if they can take our assets and from us and sell them to someone else. Again, other nations are saying we may not invade another country like Russia did, but we may do something to offend the United States. And that was, I think, a major inflection point.
Rich Lowry, a lot of good things happening here, including this whole Israel, Hamas, Middle East thing. I, by the way, think your column, I agree. I think the use of force, which is exactly the opposite of what Joe Biden. Joe Biden whined for what force would escalate the war. Turns out the use of military force by the U.S. and Israel de-escalated, probably ended the war. Okay, so much for that theory. But I also want us to fight back against China. If China is going to be bad guys, if they're going to sell dollars and buy gold to embarrass us, if they're going to have export controls on rare earths, I don't know why they would pick now to do that on the eve of, but I don't care. I know we lost 800 points today in the Dow. Nobody likes to see the market ever go down ever, any single hour or day in our lifetime. But the reality is I'm glad Trump punched back. Get him, go get him. Don't let him get away with that crap.
Of course.
I'm sorry, you go ahead. I'm asking a question. I want to hear your answer.
Obviously, China's trying to establish leverage prior to this meeting, which probably still happen. But Larry, it is just an outrage and a disgrace that the entire West basically has allowed itself to become dependent on China for this crucial ingredient for all sort of advanced products, including weapons. And we don't want to mine or process rare earths because it's too environmentally icky. That makes zero sense. So we need a long-term plan to ease ourselves off this dependence, because they shouldn't be able to just use this lever. But my expectation is both sides ultimately are going to want a deal here, and you're going to get it.
Yeah, Trump's going there in 2 weeks or so. He'll sit down with them, won't he? I know you talk to both of them on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Trump will sit down with Xi Jinping.
I don't know. This is the two biggest countries in the world decoupling right now. China is not a competitor. They're absolutely an adversary, and President Xi showed us that today. This is a redo of what happened in April when the market tanked. We had all the tariffs, and the market's basically gone up since then because cooler heads were prevailing. But now we're getting a reminder that China is an enemy, and you are seeing, Xi is trying to have leverage right now in terms of holding on to those rare earths that we need for our fighter jets and our military, that we need for our data centers. We're the AI leader of the world.
What are we doing?
If we can't get some of those rare earths?
Is there anybody have a supply? This is a serious question.
Yeah.
Does anybody have an inventory of rare earths that we could and should?
I'm going to share this with you here. You study that for a little bit, right? That's a chart of rare earths, right?
Yeah, no.
Going back to the 90s, going back to the not long ago, mid 90s. We were developing, we had as much rare earth, just a little bit less than China.
So what happened?
Well, Rich hit on one of the points, right? It was their environment, those dangerous stuff, let them do. But also businesses said, we have no problem if China wants to dig it up and sell it to us cheaper, right? I mean, this is where tariff thinking, particularly with traditional thinking, we have to be smart about this. This could be a project not unlike Eisenhower's project, you know, with the highway system. By the way, I don't think a lot of people realize our national highway system was a defense project. It was not an economic project. It was a defense project. We saw what Germany had done, right, with the Autobahn and how useful it was for moving tanks around. And that's how he sold it. That's how he got it through Congress. You know, a lot of people are upset because the government's investing in MP materials and in other names. This might be the time where you have to take off your traditionalist hat and say, we're at war, to Lauren's point.
National
and now
security.
we maybe should be investing in these things, and we should be pushing.
This was the days when the argument was China was our friend, and we were all going to have free market love together and
Didn't
free
work
trade
out.
love together, and it really didn't work out that well.
Yeah, so it didn't work. So it's one thing to have a foreign country that's undercutting U.S. industry, say with textiles or something, right? It's bad for textiles towns.
cares about
But
textiles?
China wants to dominate at the very top end of the technological spectrum for this reason, to dominate the world and to topple our hegemony. And that's a huge issue. And there's no reason we can't be doing this stuff, and it has to be a real national focus going forward.
Yeah, well, I agree with all that. I mean, I agree with all that. I just didn't know if there was some reserve, rare earth reserve
It's
that we
in
could
the
tap
earth.
into.
It's in the earth. We have it. We just have to tap into it. It's there. One other point I'll bring
It's
up.
in the Iron Range, by the way, in Minnesota. It's by Lake
There's-
Superior,
Yeah, no, this is-
Minnesota, Alaska, they're trying to build the road.
Wyoming.
Yes.
I think so. Do you know where Wyoming is?
Out west. There's
Beautiful
more
place.
cattle than people, I believe.
Sharp as a tack.
Let me tell you, though.
All hat, no cattle. Is that what you said?
That's Texas. Well, no, Texas saying, okay, well, no. The K-Web, by the way, we should
You're
point out.
blushing.
I've never been to Wyoming. or
Really? Oh,
Montana.
you have to go,
I know,
though.
or
So
any of
amazing.
those beautiful.
Jackson Hole.
I know,
But, K-Web, China's market, where their biggest tech stocks are down 7% today. Our market was down 2%.
Yeah.
Let's keep all of this in focus because everyone's going to be saying China's winning, winning, winning. Now they're using PPP to measure it, purchasing power. Not anything they can do in this country to hate. I mean, just enough TDS out there that they're still openly rooting for China to win this thing.
But they are trying to screw us, and they are trying to
course
damage
they
the
are.
dollar's currency.
Yeah.
They are trying. Now, I know all these currencies have devalued against gold, but I don't think the Chinese care about that. I think they are buying gold so they don't have to buy dollars, and they're getting all their little brick friends in cahoots to do the same thing. This is what the Chinese do. And then, by the way, their gold positions have gone up enormously. Yeah. You're right. The biggest in the last year, but not only the last year. Right. Anyway, let us move on. Lauren, what about here, the finals for the Fed? The finals for the Fed, okay. Mickey Bowman, Chris Waller, Kevin Hassett, Kevin Warsh, and Rick Reeder. I don't think Rick Reeder's going to, he's a good guy. He's a bond guy. He's a terrific guy. I don't want to say anything bad about him. I still think it's a two-person race between the two Kevins, Hassett and Warsh. But it's kind of an odd thing to announce that here's the maybe it's the semifinals. Yeah. It's gone from 11 to 5. I've never seen a thing like this happen before, but that's up to Scott.
You have the two Kevins in your bracket. That's what you're telling us.
Yeah.
To me, that's where we started and we're going to end, and Trump's going to make a decision about that. But do you have a thought? I mean, we were with Mickey Bowman last night or 2 nights ago for the Laffer Curve party. Waller's a smart guy. The two Kevins are very, 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 very smart.
Can't go wrong.
Does it matter here? Does this have anything to do with anything in terms of the markets?
Signaling it's clearly someone in the same camp and nothing like Jay Powell, and you're communicating that to the market, you make Powell ineffective, right?
You think would you like to see him announce the candidate early, later? I have people talking at me about this all the time. If you put in, say, you make a choice, the president has to make a choice, and that totally devalues Jay Powell, even though he's got 5.
That's already happened, though,
Well,
even though the president has made a choice.
Yes.
I'm sorry, even though the president hasn't made a choice. Yes, I feel like Jay Powell's
been devalued.
Yes.
You agree with that?
Well, to an extent, I mean, we've got some critical meetings coming up. You know, I think if we had a jobs report on Friday, I think we would have had an urgency for 50 basis points, because I think we would have had a negative number. But having said that, at that dinner, Warsh impressed the hell out of me.
Wasn't he something?
I mean, really, there is a difference between these
The
candidates.
laugh for dinner we had. the other night.
I mean, I was leaning Waller before this, and I think I may have changed my mind. I mean, I was blown away. And the ideas, the conceptualness, what he wants to do, what he talked about, I think is in line with Besant. Some of the things that Myron wrote in 2024. There's so many things that can be done with the Fed, in addition to stripping away unnecessary power that they don't need and shouldn't have.
Rich, is there politics behind any of this stuff or not?
So there's an implicit bargain when I come on your show, Larry, that you don't ask me about the currency, which you honor the first, and you don't ask me about the Fed and Fed policy. I know more about Wyoming than I do the Federal Reserve. But of course there is. Of course there is.
I mean, you would take Powell down. I don't know if there's a last peg, but that would take him down the last peg if you name somebody as his guy, because then
He's a lame duck, right?
right,
Yeah.
totally lame. And now he's like he's an injured duck, lame duck. I want him to be a really badly wounded duck. I guess that's what I'm trying to get out. So nobody would listen to him anymore. That's what I'm saying. So everybody would want to know, well, Kevin, and I don't have to name a last name.
Yeah, I'm
here.
like, which one?
Kevin says this, which is much more important than what Jay says. That's the kind of situation that Trump could put the whole financial world in. Think about that. Just a thought. I don't know. You guys may agree or disagree with that.
Yeah, suddenly everyone's hanging on the words of someone else besides JP.
I mean, I think that's a big thing. Charles, the rifts have begun. What do we think here? The rifts have begun. Non-essentials may become permanently non-essential. DOGE 2.0, restructuring the federal government in ways we haven't seen in I don't know how many years. What do you make of that?
I love it. I mean, we just found out the last 12 months we did pay $1 trillion in interest on our debt. I mean, the government is far too large. And listen, I didn't come up with the term non-essential. So I don't know who did, but it kind of speaks for itself. And you never root for anyone to lose their job, but this is these departments that in these agencies and non-government organizations. There's been outright theft of hundreds of billions of dollars from the American taxpayer and hidden inside this bloated, massive machine called the U.S. government. We've got to pare it down. It's got to become more transparent, and the pressure has got to come off of the average American taxpayer so that they can have prosperity as well.
All you need to know about government is that it actually employs non-essential employees, right?
Right.
Any other entity in the United States, if they're non-essential, they're not working for that entity.
Well, I've been saying this for a couple weeks, and most people would agree, I think. Look, nobody likes the shutdown. I would help them, okay? If you're going to take out another 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, okay, fine. I'll give them severance pays and so forth, because the first 300,000 or 250,000 got pretty good bonus packages. I'm not out to hurt them, but I'm saying non-essential is non-essential. The federal government is too big. We don't need 2 million civilian domestic employees. We don't. This is the age of information revolution. This is the AI age. If the private sector is downsizing for AI, why isn't the federal government downsizing for AI?
They're still human beings. And I wonder how it plays out in Virginia with the gubernatorial race there.
Ooh.
How it works out for people who live near the nation's capital if all of a sudden there's DOGE 2.2, the shutdown is in effect, and you see RIF, you see more government jobs being cut. I hear your point. I just don't know how that goes down.
I would just,
in terms of being
I would compensate
the American
them.
people.
I would show heart. I'm a humanitarian.
Okay.
I have a heart. I would help them.
But when we're talking about who gets the blame for the shutdown, right now the blame is on the Democrats.
That's
Does
easy.
it
Right.
shift
That's
when
easy.
people start getting laid off, which is happening, and the paychecks don't go out, which we'll see next week?
You got a guy, well, hang on a second on Virginia. You got a guy running on a Democratic ticket who's talking about killing people.
Yeah, Jay Jones might be so upset about the shutdown, he'll threaten to put bullets in the heads of other Republicans.
I was just going to say, this guy, right, killing his opponents, their kids.
And Spanberger, the Virginia Democratic gubernatorial candidate, was horrible on this.
I heard she didn't say anything. She just froze up.
Horrible.
Is that
Yeah, she
possible?
just said, "Oh, it's the individual voter's choice," but she's still endorsing this guy. She's running on a ticket with him. She completely
Is
mishandled
Chitterelli
it.
going to win in New Jersey if that's the
Real
Russian
shot.
pronunciation?
Has a real shot.
How about in New
The
York?
county, I live in New Jersey, and the county I live in, if you look up the voter records, it's literally 50% Democrat, 50% registered Republican, and it feels like Chitterelli's going to win where I live.
Well, you need to vote more than once.
I'm working on it.
Use your old Chicago license plate. I mean, your black driver's license. Yeah.
And Charles, would you buy the stock market back after today's trade?
I'm licking my chops, my man. Oh my God, I'm licking my chops. Some names I either sold too early or never owned. I'm like just a little bit more Monday morning.
S&P's up
Licking my chops.
35% since the
I don't
April
care. I
lows.
love
It only went
Charles.
up, basically.
I
So
love
now
Charles.
the money can
I
come
love
in.
Charles's optimism. I love his insight. What was it, the memo that came around? I'm not going to say, but some top brass person said if you'd listened to Charles Payne, how many years ago, you'd have been up 900% in the S&P.
Oh wow,
500.
yeah, yes. Someone on the show. I forgot who it was.
I forget it. I'm not going to say anything. Rich
You're paying
Lowry.
attention though.
Yes, sir. You bet I am. Lauren Simonetti, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Rich Lowry, Charles Payne.